I'm Bill Corcoran Jr., and I'm your host for the On the Stacks podcast. Today, I'm chatting with Rocky from 98.5 KRZ. What's up, podcast episode 39. Welcome to the On the Stacks podcast, Rocky.
Hey, what's going on? 39 of these. Wow.
39. Yeah. I mean, I don't have...
Did you run out of guests? Now you're up to...
Yeah. Yeah. So now I got you. I mean, I don't have as good of a radio voice as you do. But I'm excited to have you on today.
Well, thanks for having me.
Yeah. KRZ is celebrating its 40th anniversary this year.
Crazy, isn't it?
It is really crazy.
40 years. It was October of 1980. They first flipped the switch, and here we are 40 years later.
Nuts.
Not many radio stations can say that, so it's pretty nuts.
It's a pretty big deal.
Yeah.
And you've been there for 30
years, yeah.
It's a long time.
Yeah. I think I just got there yesterday, and then when I do the math, it's like, wow.
Yeah. Flew by, right?
Yeah.
So take me back before KRZ, before your KRZ days.
Okay.
How did you, what were you doing? How did you get into radio?
College, when I went to school in a small school in Massachusetts, and when they were giving us a tour of the campus, I just wandered into the radio station and said, hey, that'd be cool. I like music back then. I like playing music for my friends. So I thought, yeah, okay, I'll try radio for a little bit. I never thought it'd be a career, but I started doing college radio. And then when I transferred to Ohio University, continued, got a part-time job at a commercial radio station, and thought I'd give it a shot because I liked it. It was fun.
So you're not from this area, are you originally?
No, I'm from New Jersey.
Jersey.
Yeah.
What part of Jersey?
North Jersey, Bergen County.
Okay.
Paramus and Hillsdale, and I've heard all the Jersey jokes, so fire away.
Yeah, I guess I'll leave them out. Dirty Jersey. I mean, that's all I really got. So where did you go to school, college?
I started in the Berkshires of Massachusetts, North Adams, up in the corner there, and then I graduated from Ohio University in Athens, Ohio.
Cool. So you got into radio, and why was it that you thought that you wouldn't do it as a career?
I didn't know what I was going to do at that point. I was just thought something in communications. I was in the radio TV school, and TV didn't do a lot for me, and I just kind of caught the bug. Probably my last 2 years of college.
And you said you're a musician yourself?
No.
Or you really just like to play music?
No. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So you don't consider yourself like an amateur. Kind of like I'm like an amateur radio person, right?
Right.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about, how you got started at KRZ.
Well, my wife and I, we had worked 2 jobs before. We were in Maine, where we first got matched up. Then we went to Colorado, and our old boss called us in Colorado and said, hey, we just bought this station in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania. Are you interested? And we thought it was a step up from where we were. So we took the job, went from the Rocky Mountains to the Pocono Mountains. It was a little bit of a step down as far as geographically. But, and back in, that was like 1989. Those days we were on South Franklin Street in the old blood bank building. And it was, when we first walked into that building, that was scary times.
Yeah.
It's not what we expected.
Yeah. So you and your wife met through radio?
Radio, yeah, exactly.
Really?
Yeah, we were matched up in Augusta, Maine back in the mid-'80s. Yeah.
Prior to knowing each other?
Yeah, we met in the hallway of the radio station.
Wow.
Yep.
Crazy.
Yeah.
And so then you came here, and you guys had your radio show, the two of you, for how long?
20 plus years, 23 years, I think it was, before my wife got into real estate. Yeah.
Yeah. That's really cool.
Yeah.
So what about, tell me give me one or two interesting, funny stories, anything along the way. What do you got?
A couple of things. Well, a lot of people, in fact, we were just reminiscing, last month, talking about 40 years, and, people leave messages on our birthday line we have set up, and a lot of people bring back April Fool's Day back in the mid-'90s when we held this Field of Dreams tryout for Field of Dreams 2. Everyone was going to show up to the old baseball stadium. Before it was the Yankees, it was the Red Barons, and people showed up all dressed up. So, dress up like you're going to a baseball game. People painted their faces. Mm-hmm. They had, jerseys and hats on. And then it was a big April Fool's prank. and we got suspended for 2 days. And so a lot of people remember that. It's funny talking to people, 20 some odd years later that, oh yeah, I was, like 15. I was like in my 20s. I just got out of college. I was there that day and they never told me. And so
That's funny.
Doing a 24-hour NSYNC marathon. When NSYNC first took off, I was helping a young girl who was suffering from diabetes, and she wanted to raise money for a diabetic organization. So me and her sat in our skybox for 24 hours listening to Bye, Bye, Bye by NSYNC for 24 hours straight. So it's like whenever that song, I hear it or somewhere in the distance, it brings back that memory from years ago.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Now, and you said the Skybox. Does that thing still exist? That's like that giant boom box, right?
Yeah. Now we turned it into kind of like a video box, so it plays videos. So because it had, it basically was like it looked like an old boom box with a cassette player on it, which we had to kind of update it.
Yeah.
For 2020.
So for those that are listening that may not know what it is, what exactly was it, and what'd you guys do with it?
It's basically, it looks like a big radio, and it's got hydraulic system on it, like scissors, so it can go up, 40 feet in the air.
Mm-hmm. And you guys just took it around town?
Yeah, because it lights up and it plays music and it makes a lot of noise and
nice.
Yeah, gets attention.
Yeah. And did you say you actually sat in it?
Yeah, you can go inside of it.
Oh, really? I never knew that.
Yeah.
Huh.
So we were in it for 24 hours.
Wow.
Very long 24 hours.
How much did you raise?
Good question. I forget. Probably about $10,000.
That's cool.
24 hours, yeah.
Yeah. And what year was that?
That would have been
Like
probably
mid-90s?
Yeah, like 95, 96, somewhere around there. Yeah.
I think I was forced to go to like 1 or 2 NSYNC concerts as a kid.
Right.
Yeah. As kids, I had a sister, and of course she liked it, and the whole bit. So went and got my ears blown out up at Montage as a kid. Any experiences with any stars, like either before they became someone who blew up in the industry, in the music industry, or any cool stories that you can share about that, or just any star that musician that's been around the block that you've had experiences with? Yeah,
Rob Thomas was awesome. After Matchbox 20, when he started his solo career, we had him in studio doing one of our spotlight lounges, and he was really big at the time, but down to earth. One of the nicest musicians I ever met. You remember Uncle Kracker?
I do, and he just came out with this song. What's the new one called?
I have no idea.
It's like something about not being sober or something, or...
Well, it's funny you bring that up, because when he was on our show in the studio, they just got in that night they were touring. I forget who they were.
May have been drinking.
May have, yeah, he was.
Allegedly?
He was totally smashed in the studio. Tried singing his big song at the time. His voice was cracking. It was bad.
It was a disaster.
Nice guy, but still buzzing from the night before.
Yeah. And I think he still is to this day.
Yeah.
I think whatever he had that night, I think he's still on it. This is a really dumb question, actually, this next one. Your name, Rocky.
Yeah.
Is that a DJ name, or is that your real name?
What do you think? What do you think, Bill?
I honestly don't know, and I try.
Do I look like a Rocky? Do I look like a fighter or The Rock?
No,
or everybody named Rocky is like huge, big, wrestler, boxer, fighter, or something.
So I'm gonna say that it's not.
Good call.
Yeah, not your real name. Yeah. And then Rhodes. What about Rhodes?
Rocky Rhodes.
Yeah.
Just think of Pennsylvania.
Got it. Okay. Well, I'm glad I got that out of the way, because that's what I kind of thought, but I wasn't.
When Sue and I worked in Maine, that's how I first got the Rocky name. I was Rocky Coast in Maine.
Okay, so
for the Rocky Coast of Maine, get it?
Okay, yeah. So who gave you the name?
That was the company that hired us in Maine, and believe it or not, and this is again going back to the mid '80s. Sue was on the show, but her name wasn't on the show. Mm-hmm. It was actually the Rocky and Bullwinkle show. And I had this guy that did this Bullwinkle voice.
Okay.
I know this is like dating. People probably even know who Bullwinkle is, but Bullwinkle the Moose.
Yeah.
And the guy did that stupid voice. So I would interact with this fake character, which was, that was radio back in the 80s, Bill.
Yeah. So what's it like now? What's changed?
It's more reality. We do real stuff. We interact with listeners, and we just talk. We just talk about stuff. We talk about relationships and what's going on in people's lives, and just kind of like the quirky things.
Yeah.
Just, the other day, Lissa, who does the show with me now, we were talking about ugly babies, and
the names, right?
The names we did today, yeah, but the ugly baby thing, she goes crazy over babies. Every baby she sees, and let's face it, every baby is not the cutest baby you've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
There are some, unfortunately, they'll grow up to be beautiful young adults,
like you and I.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like us. But some babies are just a little bit ugly.
Yeah. Well, hey.
And usually, when I express my opinion, I'm kind of like the lone wolf in the woods, where there's maybe like one or two people that agree with me.
Yeah.
So when I get one of those calls, okay, finally, yay, somebody agrees, and But I was surprised. We got like expectant mothers saying, I've been on Facebook and I see these babies, and I'm thinking, I'm hoping my child doesn't look like that kid because that's an ugly baby.
Yeah. So it's funny you said about. I'm pulling my phone up right now, so I don't get the question wrong. But you said about interacting with fans, right? So I actually just posted something on Instagram and Facebook just a little bit ago, right before you came, and I said I'm going to start taking some questions, like listeners' questions.
Okay.
And I said, give me your question, and I said I'll read it off during an episode randomly, okay. And you have to answer it, and it's easy. Don't worry.
Okay.
Well, kinda. His name is Danny Corby.
Okay.
And his question is
that the magician guy?
It is.
Okay.
Do you know him?
Not personally, but I know of him because he's done some stuff with our station with Jeff and Amanda in the afternoon.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Okay. So his question, and he doesn't know that you're on, by the way. He has no idea. Like no one knows because these are recorded like a little bit in advance.
Okay.
So no one knows that you're on until your episode comes out. And Danny doesn't know this, but Danny's question is a hot dog a sandwich?
No.
Why not?
It's not. It's on a bun, first of all.
Yeah.
It's not, unless you can maybe make it into a sandwich if you take 2 slices of bread, because a sandwich is
technically
2 slices of bread. So you could actually cut a hot dog and make a hot dog sandwich out of it. Mm-hmm. But normally when
But what if you take the bun and just slice the bun and then put one on top and one on bottom? I'm doing a motion right now no one can see.
No, it's got to be bread. It's got
to be like actual.
For a sandwich, it's got to be 2 slices of bread, yeah.
From a loaf.
Yeah. Thanks for writing, Danny.
Yeah. Yeah, he's going to love that. He's going to enjoy it. So, we're starting a little new thing here, taking some listeners' questions and bringing them into the episode. So, you were the first one.
Oh, wow.
I think you did all right.
It was a tough one.
Yeah. But back to like the industry in general. I mean, you said a little bit about how it changed. Like what else have you seen change over the years during your 30 years at KRZ?
Well, downsizing, and just like it's not just radio, it's just, business in general. And obviously with the pandemic, there's been a lot of downsizing. We're lucky we still have like 5 full-time people on the air here at KRZ, where a lot of radio stations are run by like 1 or 2 people. But we used to have like all sorts of people in our building.
Yeah.
So with that comes, there's still the same amount of work to be done, if not more, because with social media. So
yeah,
we have more responsibility than ever before.
And you're on like super early in the morning.
I guess it's super early, 5:30. Yeah.
Yeah. So
for some people, what time are you here?
Yeah.
You're here probably.
Yeah, I start at like 7:30. But like you got to be like ready to go, like on air at 5:30, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Try to be.
Yeah. And you brought your Dunkin' Donuts with you today because
Yeah, well, this is the second half of my day. This is like starting another show instead of 5:30 a.m., 5:30 p.m.
Yeah. So you got your nap in and you're refreshed.
I always do, yeah. I live for naps. Got to. Because I don't stay up all day. I try to stay up till like 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
So I need a little bit of a recharge some point during the day.
So take me through a typical day. You start super early in the morning. What's a typical day like for Rocky?
Get up about 2:30, 2:45, shower, flip on the TV, see what's going on, fire up my laptop. I spend about an hour before I leave, doing some last minute prepping for the show because, the news cycle, things change. Like, within minutes. So just to make sure I know what's going on, then I leave about 4, get in at 4:30. Lissa, who I work with, is usually there before I get there, and we talk a little bit about what's happening in our lives, and then go back online and do more prepping for the show, and head down to the studio about 5:30, and we go on about 5:35.
And check the Browns score.
Yeah, usually it's...
I always say that because you're wearing a Browns hat right now.
I usually at that point, I already know what happened the day before. But yeah, big Cleveland fan.
Yeah. How are they doing?
5 wins. They're 5-3. That's better than most years.
Probably the best year they've had in
a while. Yeah,
a long time.
Yeah, good start.
Yeah. What do you see as the future in radio? I mean, things have changed obviously so much, so rapidly with technology and everything. And what's your outlook on?
Well, it's funny because everyone says, "What about satellite radio? Does that hurt you guys?" And almost anything is competition. Everybody's phone is a radio station, so you can program your phone to play any music, and we don't win by playing music. We win by the content in between the songs. So that's how KRZ's been successful for 40 years. So we just keep interacting with listeners and coming up with unusual, interesting content to keep people listening, wondering what are they going to do next, what are they going to say next, because they're not listening. There obviously is people, they want to hear music, but we mix. We do mixed talk and music. So
who comes up with all that content? You?
Both Lissa and I, and then whatever weird stuff we can find on the internet, and basically the best content comes from what happens in your life.
Yeah,
the stupid stuff that happens on a normal day basis that people can relate to.
Yeah. What's the weirdest thing that happened recently? Funny.
Oh, just dumb stuff like getting injured, doing yard work, poking my eye out. I had to go to the
Poked your eye out?
I had the big grasses that you grow in your yard. I had one go into my eye.
Oh,
which was stupid stuff like that. Coming home from work and sliding across the kitchen floor because we have 3 dogs. Dog poop. Right in the kitchen. That kind of stuff.
That's not fun.
Not fun. No.
So you might have just mentioned it before. I'm not sure, but you guys do a lot of contests, right?
Yeah.
Anything cool going on right now?
It's funny now, with the pandemic, not a lot of contesting because there's not a lot going on.
Mm-hmm.
Events, there's literally no events. There's no concerts, movie theaters, or there's no new movies coming out. So, the big thing we're doing right now, which we been doing for a couple of years, is Rockstar Teacher, where we recognize teachers every month, and it's taken on a whole new meaning because teachers are, they're turned upside down. They're getting pulled from all ends. They're Zooming. They're home. They've got kids in the classroom. Meanwhile, they're Zooming to other kids that are home. So we're every month we recognize a special teacher in our area.
Nice.
Yeah.
Really cool. You mentioned you have 3 dogs, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And Griffin Pond Animal Shelter, is that one of the is that where you got some of them? I know you're real passionate about that.
Yeah, our latest one. Yeah, I'm on the board at Griffin Pond, so I'm always showing love to those guys. Our last dog came from Griffin, and then our one dog came from Blue Chip. And then the other one was just a tenant of ours that was moving and said, my boyfriend's apartment doesn't allow dogs. Can you what are we going to do with these 2 dogs? So we took them.
Really cool.
Yeah.
So you're a big fan of the animal shelters and adopting?
Yeah, definitely rescues. Yeah.
Yeah. How did that kind of come about in your life?
It was just one of those things where we started with 1 dog. Sue and I, our very first dog, little Milo, he our overnight guy at our radio station would bring him in, when he would work. So we'd see him every morning. And one day he said, "You know what? I got to get rid of my dog." And we're like, "Oh, this is the coolest dog ever. I can just get rid of this dog." He's a little Jack Russell, and he was so lovable. And so we said, "Don't take him anywhere. We'll take him." So that was our first dog. Then we did another thing with the SPCA in Wilkes-Barre. They brought dogs in, and we fell in love with one of their dogs. So we brought little Maxie home. That was 2.
So you got,
And then, every time one dog would get sick, we'd say, okay, we're almost ready for another dog. And the most we had was 4 at once, which Do you have dogs?
I don't, but I've had dogs. I've had dogs growing up. So
1 is good. 2 is nice because they have somebody to hang out with.
Yeah.
4 can be a little challenging, especially we travel to Sue's parents in Maine, traveling with 4 dogs. Each of us grab 2. When you walk them, it's a little much, but
full house.
It's a little and a
full
cat,
car
and a cat, and it can be a little.
And
crazy.
A cat.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and Dave the cat kind of found us. He was like
Dave.
He was a neighborhood kitten that just had no place to go. So
you took him in?
He crashed at our house, and he's been there ever since.
It's a great name.
6 years later, yeah. Well, we were going to visit our friends in Davie, Florida. It was Halloween, like 6 years ago, and that's when somebody in the neighborhood said, "Can you take this kitten? We found him in the neighborhood," and so we named him Dave after Davie.
Nice.
Yeah,
that's cool. So the birthday line, are you guys still, can people still call in and give?
And don't ask me for the number because I
got it.
Because I have no idea what it is. I have to go to our notes back in the studio to find.
Don't worry, I got you covered.
Okay.
The number is 570-602-2816.
Nice. Yeah.
How about that?
So you can call that number, wish us a happy birthday, and if you have a memory of KRZ, leave that on the birthday line, and then you'll hear yourself on the radio. We play these back all day long.
You playing them like how long? Like till the end of the year? Or?
I guess. We haven't heard, but I guess.
Nice. I'm glad.
Would make sense since this is our 40th year.
Yeah.
Play it to to December. Yeah.
Yeah. So you're not from this area.
Mm-hmm.
You moved here a long time ago. Obviously, you stayed here. What's your favorite thing about NEPA?
It's one of the things when I first got here, it was close to my family, and my parents were getting older at the time, so it was nice being close to them in Jersey. Plus, my sister lives in New York City, so we were real close. And being in an area which was growing at the time, because we got here right when they built. At the time, it was Lackawanna County Stadium. They just built the stadium, so the whole Montage area was starting to grow. The arena wasn't built yet, but we saw the beginning of what looked like was a growing area. Plus, you're close to Philly, you're close to New York, you're close to metropolitan areas, and you're not paying the high prices of living in Jersey or New York.
Yeah, that's definitely true.
And the beautiful country, Harvey's Lake, and all the state parks, Francis Slocum, and
cool. What would you say is a misconception of being a radio DJ? 1, 2 things. Like what, or something like that you didn't expect going into it. Like what's something that people probably have this view of you being a radio DJ, but in all reality, there's a lot of probably other behind the scenes things that you do that people probably don't.
It's funny when I meet people for the first time, some say, "Oh, you sound just like you do on the radio." Other people say, "Oh man, you're kind of laid back. You're like," because when you're in the studio, you kind of have to jack it up a little bit with a little more energy. And when I'm not on the radio, when the mic light isn't on, I'm a little more laid back, maybe more quiet than I am, because you don't have to constantly fill those gaps. When you're on the radio, you have to keep talking, fill the gaps, keep it moving.
Yeah.
Where when I'm off the air, maybe I'm just I like to observe. I like to listen to people. I like to hear what they have to say instead of having me talk all the time, because I don't like hearing my voice. I don't like hearing myself talk.
It's ironic because you're, but the funny thing is, I said the same thing. Like before I started this podcast 39 weeks ago, I still, like you said, I still don't really like hearing my voice, but like you said, like it's just kind of weird,
Mm-hmm.
But you've been doing it for so long.
Right.
So what about, what are some other things that you do that people wouldn't expect, like behind the scenes? Like show preparation, things like that. Yeah,
most people know what my life is all about with animals, with biking. I do a lot of charity bike rides. They know about that because I post it on social media. Maybe I'm into jazz. Most people probably don't realize that. My dad got me into jazz when I was a kid, so that's always been a part of my life. So, when I relax, and usually Sunday morning, I listen to jazz. I love like film noir, like the black and white movies from the 40s and 50s. There's a show on Turner Classic Movies every Saturday and Sunday. It's called Noir Alley, and they show these old movies from the 50s, which I love. And soon my wife will come in and go, oh, you're watching another one of those black and white movies again, huh? And I love that time period, like the 40s and the lingo, the language, and, hey, I got this hot dame over here. And this, the way they talked back then, it's great stuff.
Speaking of the 40s and 50s, you brought today these really cool props.
Yep.
You got the the old school, the pill micro. What was it called?
That's an old RCA pill microphone. This is an old actual radio microphone. Yeah, it was used. Who knows who talked into that? But yeah, it's old radio mic
probably from the 40s.
Yeah, probably late 40s, I would think.
Yeah. And the radio?
Yeah, the radio, same thing. Probably early 50s. Which, if we plugged it in right now and turned it on, I don't know what would happen. It could work. It also, could catch fire. You never know with those things.
The wires are looking a little sketchy in the back,
right?
Yeah. So we'll keep it unplugged for now. Right. So for anyone that may be looking to get into into radio, any advice you can give somebody, or if you're looking back at your 20-some-year-old self, anything you would have done differently, or?
Totally different now than when I get into radio, because there's not as many jobs as there were back, when I started, when I got out of college. A lot of it is pre-recorded.
Nowadays?
Yeah. And there's syndication. There's, show like we have Ryan Seacrest, who does our midday show. So that's like one job that isn't available. But, if you're into radio, just, internship, just to see if you like it. And, that holds true with, any job, any career, because people make their minds up. I'm going to do this without actually experiencing it. Maybe they go to school, and until they get out there and actually, do that job, oh, you know what? It gets bloody in the operating room. Who would have thought? Like in the ER, I can't do. I've heard of people say that they can't handle it face to face.
Yeah.
And the same thing with radio. Go do it first before you do 4 years of communications college or something. Just call up a radio station and see what it's like.
Yeah.
After the pandemic, we allow people in our building.
Yeah. Yeah. So like, what happened with you guys? You worked from home for a few months? Or?
Yeah. I was home until like middle of June.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Which don't tell anybody, but I loved it.
Did you?
Yeah, it was nice. Just when you get up early and being, working in the morning for so many years and not experiencing morning at home outside of the weekends, it was nice to wake up at home and have a cup of coffee. I'd see the sun come up. I'd see the sunrise every day. I'd be with my dogs in the morning, and just to walk down the hall and go to work. I thought I wouldn't like it because
I was going to say, what was it difficult for you to get used to that? I mean, because you weren't in your typical environment.
It took about a day.
Yeah, that's it.
I thought I'd miss the buffer of, because I always like the separation of home and work. I always like that 20 minutes of downtime in between. And then when I went back to work and I'm driving to work thinking, I could be doing something right now. I'm wasting, this is like 45 minutes of my day where I'm not doing anything except kind of free thinking as I'm going to work.
Yeah. Yeah. That was a little different. That was probably the first time you ever had to do that, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
So it was...
Yeah, it was an adjustment, but it went well with technology nowadays. It sounded like I was in the studio.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
How can our listeners connect with you and KRZ online? Social media?
Yeah, with KRZ, we're Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and with me, most of my accounts are Rocky 98.5. Either it's Twitter or Instagram.
Mm-hmm. Where are you most active?
I like Twitter just to keep up with stuff, especially sports, and but I do a lot of stuff on Instagram, post a lot of photos, and then Facebook, of course.
Yeah.
So probably all three.
Yeah.
And then I just observe on TikTok. I just I made one TikTok video during the pandemic, and now I think
we all did.
And now I just watch it. It's there's some crazy stuff there.
Yeah, my wife and I we made a few. And then during, like you said, during the shutdown and everything, and we did a few, and then we kind of stopped, and then afterwards everyone kept asking. Still to this day, literally still to this day, people are like, "Yo, when you guys are gonna start doing those? You guys, what happened? You guys stopped?" And we're like, "Well, yeah, we got a little more."
Nobody asked me to do another video. I did one.
What was it?
My neighbor Was on with Ryan Leckie. He did a whole thing about, this is probably back in March or April. He did a whole thing about TikTok and local people on TikTok. And I saw her. I didn't realize she was my neighbor. And I said, oh, this person has a lot of personality. We should get her on the radio. So I talked to Ryan. And then I found out she was my next door neighbor.
Okay.
Had no idea. So I said, hey, we ought to do a TikTok video. So we did something stupid, social distancing. We both stood on top of our vehicles in front of our house since she was my neighbor.
Yeah.
And yeah.
That's cool.
And we did some stupid
And then you
dance.
retired from TikTok.
And then that was it. Yeah, that was the one and only.
One hit wonder.
Yeah, exactly.
As they say.
Yeah.
Yeah. What?
I'm like men without hats when it comes to TikTok.
So what about some of the other people that maybe you've worked with along the way? I mean, who are some other people that you really enjoyed working with throughout your career, whether they're still with the station or not?
So many people have passed through our building. In fact, when we celebrated our actual anniversary day, I had a lot on the air. Obviously, my wife, Sue, of course, she was with me for such a long time. And, Doc Medic, who's still on our sister station, Froggy 101, he was our boss back when we first, started. Joe Mama was our overnight guy. Let's see, who else? Richie Cunningham I worked with, and so many.
Did you work with Bill Vinsco? Yeah,
Bill and Brian, the Vinsco brothers.
Yeah. I think I might have seen like a post or something here or there on Facebook. I know Bill, so that's why I'm asking.
He was Telephone Bill.
That's right.
And his brother was Flying Brian.
So why Telephone Bill?
They're just a stupid catchy. Sorry, I don't mean stupid.
Yeah.
It was a great name, Bill.
We'll bleep that out.
But just a catchy name, Telephone Bill.
Yeah.
It's like Flying Brian.
Flying Brian.
Jerry Padden, of course, he was, I worked with him for the longest time. And Kelly cool. Kay. I don't want to leave somebody out. Hey, you didn't mention me, but
I know. Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. I feel like I really put you on the spot there.
Exactly. It's a loaded question.
Yeah, it is. And then somebody's gonna be like, "What the hell, Rocky? You didn't mention me. I worked with you for ever."
Yeah, exactly.
So sorry to anyone that.
I'm thinking of you. I'm thinking of you. I love you guys.
And then you can give them a shout out maybe on the radio when after this airs. But how can somebody get on the radio with you? You guys probably don't have anyone in the studio, right? I mean,
yeah, nobody in the studio, phone or text. People are texting more than ever before.
Okay,
and their schedules are all mixed up nowadays. It's especially in the morning because they're dealing with kids and not most not sending them off to school, so they're either homeschooling or setting up Zoom chats with the teachers. So, but we still get a ton of texts.
Yeah. When do you think things will go back to kind of somewhat normal?
I have no idea.
Any idea?
Yeah.
No clue.
I thought it was going to be after Election Day, but that's what I heard somewhere.
Yeah.
I thought I heard that.
Somewhere on the internet, right?
I'm thinking the spring, maybe.
Yeah.
So trying to be optimistic.
Still a little ways away.
Yeah.
But, here's hoping.
Yeah.
Right. What else? I mean, is there anything else that I didn't ask you that I should have asked you? That's a loaded question in itself.
Really? No, it's been a fun ride. I never thought I'd be doing radio this long. I said to myself, if I ever hit a wall, and I hit a wall once where I almost got out of radio.
Why?
I was working in Charleston, South Carolina, and I was part-time, and I got passed over for a full-time job. And I thought, okay, that was it. If I can't keep working part-time. So I started interviewing, and I was going to be a tour guide have you ever been to Charleston, South Carolina? They have the carriage rides where they take you. Oops, sorry.
Oh, you're good.
They take you around the historic area. And I was going to, be one of those guys. And
you weren't having it.
I was getting into the kind of the early stages of doing that. And then my boss called me back and said, okay, and something opened up.
So then you
came back into radio. Got back in, and bounced around there. Went to Maine, Colorado, PA. My wife and I were in Florida for a year doing radio, and then came back.
Cool. So, but you never thought you'd be in radio this long, huh?
Yeah, I had no idea.
Yeah.
You don't know what the future is.
Yeah. It was great learning a little bit more about you, and happy 40th birthday to
Thank you.
to KRZ.
Yeah.
On the Stacks podcast, 98.5 KRZ. Thanks for joining me, Rocky.
You got it, Bill. Appreciate it.
If you'd like to learn more about the On the Stacks podcast, be sure to search the hashtag On the Stacks on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. If you enjoyed this podcast, please subscribe and leave a review. We'll catch you next time on the Stacks.